here we go. Back again. Back again. Alright? And today it is the return or the continuation of the Than Previously Fought syndrome. And yep, the deception continues. And yeah, this will go on. And let's face it, the syndrome could continue as long as the deception continues, right? If the deception ends and the lies, then the syndrome will end. But don't go holding your breath, right? Because yeah, it continues for sure. And another dead giveaway in terms of the syndrome is, of course, this virus that they talk of, the coronavirus, or Cove SARS-2, if you like, this spook virus, the myth that is so deadly, yet no one has it, and it's a pandemic, yet all the hospitals were empty, right? But yeah, the coronavirus has the syndrome all over it. As we say, I have said before, as you can see, the Metro, this is today, the 13th of August. Coronavirus was widespread across the UK earlier than previously thought. Shock horror. 1 day ago, medical news today. COVID-19 liver damage may be more common, yep, than previously thought. And again, like we keep saying in the syndrome, that this virus, it's changing every week. It's a bit like the moon or Mars, right? But yeah, constantly now they are changing it. And this is 23 hours ago from the People. And it says, coronavirus may spread farther indoors than previously thought. What a surprise, right? And yeah, we sure did see this one coming. And it says, once we acknowledge that the virus is transmitting through aerosols, we can then take steps to address that and to reduce that risk, Marr said. Expert, of course. But yeah, we know that they have considered and are already looking into masks in the home, and we covered that before. And yeah, unfortunately, I think I would say that yeah, that will come, and how they're going to implement that, I'm not really sure, because they can stick their masks where the sun don't shine, right? And I did see this as well, and it's about a sweetie that is going to make people, this is no joke, it's going to make your saliva thicker, right? Happy days, just what we've always wanted. So yeah, this is probably one for a future syndrome when it comes out, that the sweetie didn't only make your saliva thicker, but it made you actually thicker, right? So yeah, look out for it. And sticking with COVID, this is from Business Line. COVID-19 infection may persist for longer than previously thought 3 days ago. And this is a study that's been done. So yeah, it must be true. So yeah, it's clear to see now that the virus is becoming this magical and deadly virus that is basically, let's face it, as if it's being controlled by someone or something, or manipulated in a certain way. But surely not, right? I mean, it's either that or it just does not exist, full stop. Let's face it. It's unbelievable and it's comical. I honestly can't help but laugh. They are so predictable with the lies and manipulation. And this is another one in terms of COVID. And it's about a study, would you believe it? More research from the UCSF, who we have touched on. Bill Gates, yeah, he funds them as well, big time. And it says, research suggests SARS-CoV-2 is more sinister than scientists previously believed. Well, yeah, it's clear to see scientists never, ever, ever, ever get anything right. Because whatever they tell us now changes next week or the week after. Right, and yeah, it's clear to see where they're heading with COVID. It's basically going to become the Black Plague. And if you don't do anything to stop it, you'll basically be some sort of terrorist. Right? So yeah, look out for that. And I did read this, and it says, UCSF researchers discover COVID-19 coronavirus evolved to grow tentacles and use them to infect other cells. So would you believe it? It's now growing fucking arms and legs. Just like every story that they tell us. What a surprise that is. And we'll leave COVID for now in a way. But fear not, because I can bet you it will be back in next week's Syndrome. And now I want to touch on this here. Can you guess what this is? Right? I'd imagine most of you probably can. And this is meant to be, of course, gene editing. Now, I have touched on gene editing before, and I have been saying for a while now that this is where it's heading with vaccinations. And yeah, it's all going to be about gene editing. But of course, it will all be for our benefit, right? But it won't be. And it will be seriously bad news for humanity. And that is for fucking sure. I really can't stress that enough. And this is 18 hours ago, HD Buzz. Caution urged for the use of gene editing technology, CRISPR. Now, we did briefly touch on CRISPR before, and the gene editing via vaccines or to help with diseases, and it's scary stuff. Now, I won't cover everything in this, but it basically touches on some of the seemingly unintended side effects of the wonderful and magnificent gene editing technology, right? And it really is dangerous stuff by the sounds of it. But we knew that anyway, because let's face it, we know what the fucking plan is. And as you can see, it mentions the loss of heterozygosity, and that's to do with how you inherit different genes from your parents. So what are they messing about with there? And it mentions as well, as you can see, chromosome 6, the loss and gain of chromosome 6. But at the bottom, as you can see, it's unintended genome editing outcomes, right? Sure, why not, right? And but we'll touch on a wee bit of chromosome 6. Chromosome 6 spans more than 170 million base pairs, the building material of DNA, and represents between 5.5 and 6% of the total DNA in cells. It contains the major histocompatibility complex, which contains over 100 genes related to the immune response, right, and plays a vital role in organ transplantation, right? So yeah, chromosome 6 or any part of your DNA is not something that you want to be fucking about with, or you want anybody fucking about with, right? And to expand on it a wee bit more, what happens if you are missing chromosome 6? A chromosome 6q deletion is a rare disorder in which some of the genetic material that makes up one of the body's 46 chromosomes is missing. Like most other chromosome disorders, this increases the risk of birth defects, development delay, and learning difficulties. What a surprise, right? That won't come as a shock, I'm sure. And what is chromosome 6 disorder? Well, I believe you will be hearing a lot more about this in time to come. And it says, ring chromosome 6 syndrome is a rare chromosomal anomaly syndrome with highly variable phenotype, principally characterized by parental postnatal growth failure, intellectual disability, developmental delay, and craniofacial dysmorphism. Right? So yeah, it's certainly something that you wouldn't want to be tampered with or affected in any way whatsoever, right? And I checked it up a bit more in terms of the effects, and as you can see, eye folds, wide set eyes, low hairline at back of neck, large ears, abnormally small skull, impairment, respiratory impairment, short outermost finger bone, right? Decreased length of neck, decreased body height. And this is only some of the known effects of gene editing. Fantastic, right? And there's even more. As you can see, decreased length of neck, we said that. Decreased body height, we said that. Urogenital fistula, right? And that basically is where your bladder is destroyed and your sexual organs are destroyed. And the last one, broad nasal bridge, right? So we'd give you a wide nose. So yeah, what have they got in store for humanity? And going by that, gene editing, it sounds fucking horrific, right? And I would imagine that people will suffer. They really will suffer greatly at the hands of gene editing. And yeah, it's all going to help, of course, in terms of the agenda. But yeah, this article is evidently part of the syndrome, and it was published in this company here, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, BioRxiv, right? And it's not an official, like top official publication. So I would imagine we will see this again, and they will be saying, oh, it's actually not as bad as we previously thought, but really it will be 10 times worse, and that I have no doubt about. And sticking with the syndrome, but I'm sure we will be back to gene editing once again, so yeah, look out for it. But yeah, I seen this one as well this week, this wonderful painting that is so fantastic, and we can even date it, right? Sure, why not? And this is in our good friends Physics.org. From cave art to climate chaos. Wow, how a new carbon dating timeline is changing what? Well, changing our view of history. Of course it is, right? Because that's the whole point of it when it comes to certain agendas that are exposed by the then previously thought syndrome, right? It's all manipulated or made up, if you like. And of course, yeah, they change and rewrite history as they suit. And it says, with the new Intel Cal 20 curve, our best estimate for the creation of the oldest radiocarbon dated painting in the cave is now 36,500 years old. Wow, this is almost 450 years older than, yep, previously thought. What a surprise. And yeah, as always, it's clear to see how it's used to fit certain agendas, right? Or dismiss certain things, if you like, right? And yeah, I wanted to touch on this one finally for today. It's been a busy week for the syndrome, that is for sure, as always. And yeah, it's about fabrics and microfibers. Science Times 2 days ago. Microfibers cause more pollution than previously thought. Now ain't that a surprise, right? Seen that one coming a mile away, of course. So, you'd imagine that with the industrial world being as it is, and consumption of clothes and carpets and so forth, it would be down to that. But no, it is of course your fault. Of course it is. It's our fault, as always. The blame is placed firmly upon us, the doting human. And yeah, of course we have been using and washing clothes for many of a year, but probably unknowingly to most, been damaging the environment. What a surprise. And I don't think, and as you can see, it says microplastic fibers, which we have touched on, right? How they are even changing the genetics of plants. So yeah, what are they doing? What is it doing to us? But yeah, to continue that, microplastic fibers have been increasingly found in water systems traced back to homes, such as pumps from washing machines. Ah, right. Although textile companies do dispose of a significant portion of microplastic fibers into the environment, a recent study reveals that washing fabrics release the most pollution. Sure they do. So yeah, it's clear to see that the textile industry and companies, well, they're off the hook, they're fine. But you washing your clothes at home, that's bad news. And yeah, you can forget about that soon. That'll be out the window for sure, the way it's going with the microplastics. Anyway, that is it for this week's Than Previously Thought Syndrome. And I was glad that the majority of you said that you wanted it to continue, because yeah, like myself, it's a dead giveaway as to the manipulation that is upon us, and it really is clear to see when you join it all up. It's comical to say the least. But I will be back tomorrow with the Friday fix, and yeah, it has been another crazy week. Would you believe it, right? Anyway, that is about it. Bye-bye.